I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel as well as the artbyro.com website where you can find over 200 art and drawing tutorials. Today we're going to be making some marshmallow peep bunnies. You know, the little candy treats that you get for Easter that you either love them or hate them. So today we're going to be doing some little peep drawings, and we're going to add some fun little silly faces to them, maybe dress them up and put them in a nice little, maybe a suit and tie, who knows, whatever you can come up with. So let's go ahead and go over to the art studio and get started on that. And if you like the video, please give us a like and subscribe if you want to be notified of future videos. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so today we're going to be drawing some Easter peeps, the little bunnies, little marshmallow bunnies that as kids we would get in our Easter baskets, and it seems that people either love them or they hate them. Let me know in the comments, do you like the little marshmallow peeps? Are you one of those people that hate them and think they shouldn't exist? I liked them. I thought they were okay until they got stale, which was like an hour after you open the package, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So let's go ahead and get started on this. We want to start by drawing the shape of our bunny. And it's easier to do your drawings if you start with some basic shapes. It just helps get some marks on the paper. You can get things laid out a little bit. So let's start by drawing a fairly big circle on the bottom. And these can be kind of sketchy. You want them to be light. We're going to refine them later. We're just trying to get a sense of how big we want this to be, where it's going to be positioned, and make sure everything's laid out correctly before we start adding in all the details and putting some effort into it. You don't want to spend a bunch of time having everything all detailed out and then find out it's not right, it's the wrong size or whatever, something doesn't look right. Because at this point, we could erase this, change it up a little bit. So we're going to do just kind of an oval shape for the head. So here's our body, here's the head, and then here's our center point. We want to do a couple ears. You don't have to know where your center point's at, but it does help to keep them symmetrical. And I actually think I'm going to move these because the peeps, the ears are kind of connected to one another. They meet in the middle here. Because we do want this to look like a peep. So it doesn't have to be exactly, but we do want, when somebody looks at it, then they know that that's a peep. So here's our basic shapes. Now we can start refining this, the overall shape of it. And we do want to keep in mind that it is a marshmallow, so there are some limitations to the amount of detail you're going to have with it. So we're going to darken up the lines so we can see where we need to keep lines and where we need to erase lines. So I'm just darkening up the lines that I want to keep, and then these will all get erased, and we can do this after we do our outline. It's easier to clean it up and erase everything. And then for the body, it kind of comes down to a little bit of a point at the bottom for whatever reason. So we can bring that down. It doesn't have to be exact. If you made this completely rounded off, that would be fine. Probably nobody would notice any difference with it. So there is the outline of our Peeps bunny. So now the next thing we want to do is outline that with, I'm going to use black. You could do a pink, you could do purple, you could do whatever color you want, doesn't really matter. I'm going to be coloring this in with markers, so I like to outline with a black pen. You can use whatever you want. And it's also a good idea to try different things. So this would be a good one to do a series of drawings. And I like doing my drawings in a series of 7, where I'll do 1 a day for the week. And each day I try to do something a little bit different with it. So one day I might do a black outline, the next day I might do a pink outline or a purple outline. The next day maybe I'll do watercolor paints, or I might try maybe some supplies I've never used before. So it's fun to experiment and try new things, and I find that when you do a series of drawings, it gives you a little bit more freedom to try different things and experiment, because you're not worried about, oh, I'm doing one, it's got to be perfect. I find that it gives me a little bit more freedom to experiment and try something new. And I think these Peeps are a good one to practice on, because they're really simple, they're really quick and easy to draw, and if you mess up, you're only out just a few minutes worth of work, so it makes it a nice one to experiment on. So now it's time to add the color, and then we're going to draw some faces on here, and that's going to be the fun part. And you could do the face first and then do the color after, but I'm going to go ahead and fill all this in with color now, and then draw the face over top of that. To pick out my colors, what I do is use these little scrap papers, and this is an artist trading card, and I have these scrap paper left over after I cut out my cards, and I can use them to check out my colors. So what I want is colors that are fairly similar to each other, but slightly different. That way, when I blend them together, I don't have a hard edge from blending them. And that's just how I like to work. That's kind of my style of coloring. Everybody's isn't going to be the same, so you should do whatever works for you. If you don't want your colors blended, then you would have to use maybe a little bit different method for how you want to do your colors. And I typically do at least 2 different markers of each color. I like to do 3 if I can, but because I work small most of the time, it's not always possible to fit 3 different colors in. Also, you have to have the right colors. The more colors you add to the mix, as far as the quantity of markers you use per color, like if you're using 2 or 3, if you wanted to try to use 4, you have to have 4 markers that are similar enough in color, which means you have to have a pretty big supply of markers to be able to do that, which I do have quite a few, but I have, I think, at least 30 different shades of green, and yet I still don't have the exact greens I need all the time. So the next thing I want to do is add in some darker areas just to break up this bright pink a little bit. So I just go right over top of that lighter color And then I take, so as you can see, this is kind of a, what I would call a hard edge. But I can go back over top of it with this lighter color and it'll blend that in so that it softens that edge up a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And if you're going to try blending your markers together, then you do need to work while the markers are still wet. And as you can see, as you layer them, it's going to change the color as well. It's going to get darker the more layers you put with a marker. So I'm just going to kind of go around, find some areas that I want to darken up a little bit. Add some shadows. Break up this lighter pink a little bit. And then if you want to, you can go in and darken up the rest of it. Just add a second layer of that light pink in there. And then that'll blend everything together nice. It's not too bad. Those are not too far off. It doesn't stand out too bad. So it's up to you whether that bothers you or not. If you think the whole thing needs to be filled in with this lighter pink, and you can do that. Just go in and put a second layer on there. And sometimes you might want to work back and forth. Add another layer of the dark, or we can leave it just like it is. All right, so to finish this up, we want to draw something on here, and you can make it look like a traditional peep. I think they just have a basic face on them, but we want to have this one be a little bit more fun. So if this is the face, let's draw some kind of crazy, fun face on here. And again, this is where doing a series can really be a lot of fun. Just seeing how many wacky designs can you come up with for these peep drawings, for these little bunny peeps. Maybe we put some buck teeth down here. And I'm going to go over this with black when I'm done, so I'm just drawing it out in pencil. We could put some little details in the ear if we want. And we're not, at this point, I'm not trying to make this look like the traditional peep. I'm just playing around with it, trying some different things out. Maybe we put some buttons down the front. So again, there's tons of different ways you can draw the faces. Maybe you want to put them in a little Easter suit. Maybe you want to make them scary looking. It's entirely up to you. And there's just tons and tons of different ways you could do this. There's thousands of ways you could draw the eyes, the mouth, however you want to dress them up, put some crazy clothes on them. All sorts of different things that you could do here. So that's it for the face. and the designs, or whatever you would want to call it, on there, the little details we're adding to it. So the next thing would be whatever you want to do with the background. And like I said, this example is an artist trading card. So you would want to, probably if you want to finish your card off, you don't want it to just be floating on the paper. And that could be just adding a solid background to it. It could be filling in, it could be black in the background, it could be a color. We could do some color around, like what I would call a halo around the edges. We could do something on the outside of it. Tons of different ideas, a lot of different ways we could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a background on there real quick, and I'll come back just to show you what the finished one looks like. All right, so there is my finished card, my finished Easter Bunny Peep. You could also add some white, and I think we'll fill these in. So something I do quite a bit is to add white with a jelly roll pen, just to break up all the solid area. You could fill in the eyes, you could fill in the teeth if you wanted, just to see what that looked like. Just to try it out and see. Again, that's where experimenting and trying some different things really comes in handy. You could try and see which way you like it best. But that's it. So let's move that out of the way. That's it for our Easter Bunny Peep. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in the next one. Happy creating! That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to get notified of future videos. And also check out the description box. There's a lot of links in there and additional information that you'll find useful. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!